when men are confused about their gender and women are confused about theirs, and now we're paying for it? Is that progress?
Are you a fiscal conservative, Jesse?
Answer that question, David. Is that progress?
Well, are you a fiscal conservative?
David, answer that question. Is that progress?
It's not an example of something that is or isn't progress, but the reason I'm asking whether you're a fiscal conservative is it's cheaper
David,
to pay for those
that?
procedures than to find and discharge every transgender member of the military. So if you're a fiscal conservative,
David,
and I've heard you say that you are, you should favor the cheaper option, which is paying for those procedures and not paying for what it would cost to find and discharge all those transgender military members.
David, you're not here to communicate. I really appreciate you coming on. I'm going to let you go. It's a waste of time to talk to you. We're not communicating. You're acting like an idiot.
Because you're asking bizarre questions.
You're acting like an idiot, and you're wasting my time. I appreciate you coming. All right, thank you for coming. Goodbye. Goodbye. Let him go. That's a progressive vote. All men who are progressive, or males who are progressive, are weak people.
Well, here I am again. Let's try this one more time. And it's Christmas Eve. This is better freaking work. Howdy, everybody. What's going on? Let's see. What shall we, how should we kick this off today? Should we just get going, or what do we do? I don't know. I don't know how that happened yesterday. That was incredibly amazing. But I managed to do it again. Managed to fall asleep, start to fall asleep again. I don't think I went full out yesterday. I was starting to get there, but I don't think I actually went full under. Now, good news is that this is a mistake that I made both times before, and I didn't make that mistake again. I went to bed super early last night, and I stayed asleep for a long time, so I think I'm good this time. I didn't go to bed early enough the time before, and I stayed up late, and I stayed going way too long. I didn't sleep very long. I pushed myself to get up and do this show, and it just was a mess both times, and it's like it should have been kind of an obvious solution. However, I'm not always one for the obvious answers, as you guys can probably guess. But anyway, here today, finally. It's a Christmas gift, Christmas miracle, probably from my end. But and on top of that, I gotta say, the news today and the events that are going on are just too funny and too interesting, as far as, once again, a case study of the same phenomena I've talked about a couple times before, that we're going to check out again today, because it's undeniable at this point when you see it happening so often, that you have people on the left freak out and start going nuts over, oh my God, Donald Trump is coming into office. He's going to prosecute all of us. Oh my gosh, all these people on YouTube are going and looking at our channels where we've lost subscribers. And they're getting ready to take us. They want to take us all off the air. No, we're laughing at you. And the reason that they feel that way is that, like I said, we've talked about this before. If the roles were reversed and Harrison won, and there's a lawsuit against Fox, which is ironic. There was a lawsuit against Fox from Dominion, the voting machines, and that whole spiel. That was how Tucker got. A lot of people say that's how Tucker. I don't know for sure. He hasn't, I don't think, directly addressed that. But the point is that there was a lawsuit against Fox. They lost. They ended up having to pay a bunch of money. Now ABC's having to pay a bunch of money because they didn't want it to go to Discovery, most likely, because George Steppy Boy probably has far more examples of him. Excuse me, him doing stuff that wouldn't look that good in a courtroom. As far as, example of media and unbiased media, especially if you were looking for that, I don't think ABC has too many examples. But the point is that if they were the ones in this position, if they were the ones that had won, and then Harris was taking Fox to trial, and they had to pay out a bunch more money again, and then there was a bunch of videos of people coming out from leftists and talking about all the things that right-wingers were saying that was so wrong. They would be prepping to go run to YouTube or go run to Google or go run to somebody and say, these people are spreading false information. It's disinformation all over again. We need to take them off your platforms immediately. That's not the way right-wingers think. And that's the problem with the left when they have these meltdowns, is that they can't think like right-wingers. And like, as somebody who is registered independent, consider myself to have views. I've talked about this several times. You know, I fall in line far more with the right these days because of how insane the left is, but I'm pretty moderate in terms of my, very, very moderate in terms of my views, and fall more or less leaning one way or another, depending on, I mean, when the left was in the early 2000s and it was George Bush as president, and we were going to Iraq and all that shit was happening, I wasn't. I was very anti-war, very anti-Bush and Cheney, and definitely tilted more towards the left. Now that the left is kind of insane with this ridiculous Ukraine infinite money strategy, and the right is far more anti-war, and Trump is just like such a unique figure in terms of his alignment because of how much of a anomaly he is in terms of the conservative party. He's by no means a hardcore extreme conservative, not even close. And yet he's viewed as this super polarizing figure that's so right ways. The MAGA movement is such an extremist movement, and it's just nonsense. But the leftists convince themselves of that, so they can't stop thinking like they would think if they were in the position of the people on the right in this instance. And I got to get my protein. They can't stop thinking about it like that. So we're going to go over some examples of what's going on in their world, as well as a video or two about just some media-related stuff. Not anything. I don't know why this happens every time I go out. I have to keep lighting my cigarette. I know I've let it hang for a while, but still, it's weird. But anyway, there's quite a few clips, so I'll probably start pretty quickly. But I guess I should touch on this real quick because I'll probably go over this in more detail next time. After 3 attempts that all failed, and man, jeez Louise, maybe it's all the chocolate. Sorry, I don't know what it is. I keep getting this like nasty taste in the back of my throat. Anyway, there's some stuff that is more serious that I'll probably want to go over in a full video, and it's more related towards the stuff that's been revealed lately over the January 6th House report, and it was a House report, I believe. The first talking point that really is one of the main ones is that the FBI admitted to having agents or confidential human sources among the crowd that went into the restricted areas even on January 6th. And of course, people are who hate Trump are hand-waving this away like, well, of course they did that. Of course they would have that. I mean, why wouldn't they have that? Okay, let's ask you a real question here, genius. Why did they know this was going to be going on? How did they prep the confidential human sources to know what was going on, to know where they'd be at the Capitol, to know where restricted areas would be at the Capitol. It's not exactly an easy building to navigate, nor is the area around it, I would imagine. And what kind of role, I mean, there's still, Ray Epps is still a mystery. I mean, they've tried to pretend like they're foe bringing the hammer down on him, but nobody, I don't think, really believes that, because, like, the way he's been treated versus the way your average January 6th attendee was treated is like a night and day difference. And then there's the issue of Chris Wray directly lying to Congress about this, because Clay Higgins was brilliant line of questioning, which should have been obvious by his answer that yes, this is the case. There were confidential human sources, and his question involved not just confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters on the lawn and amongst the crowd, but were they in fact inside the Capitol before the doors were opened? And he wouldn't answer that question either. So they had to have been there as well, which once again, let me ask you another question. How would they know that people would go into the building? Maybe if there was somebody the night before shouting about how they needed to go into the Capitol, that might kind of be a giveaway. Oh, yeah, that's right. That happened. Oh, no. And this is what they, like, they can hand wave it all they want, but, like, people are not going to like this. And I sincerely doubt that, like, with a event this size, there's no way in hell it was just 20 or 30 agents that were there, or 20 or 30 sources that were there. There had to have been when Clay Higgins was interviewed by Tucker Carlson, he put it in the 200s range. He said he was comfortable. He didn't want to give an exact number, but there was a lot, and that was a number he was comfortable throwing out as being potentially in the vicinity of how many agents were there. Or, I keep saying agents. The other thing is, though, that there potentially were actually agents there that were also dressed as Trump supporters, not just confidential human sources. This is just the only things that the FBI are basically admitting to at the moment. And we also know of the tendencies of many people on the left to destroy a bunch of things before an incoming switch. So, who knows what kinds of things have already been buried and are potentially not going to see the light of day. But at the very least, we know that we've known this for a long time, but his word is nothing. And anyone associated with the FBI under this administration, or in particular the DOJ under this administration, you can't really take anything they say at face value, and that goes for, there's been an interview that people have been kind of talking about and passing around with that sleazeball Mayorkas, talking to, I can't remember her name, but it was someone interviewing him for television, and he's just minimizing, he's even minimizing the missing children by going into, we reunite children who across the border with their parents who are, no, you don't. You reunite them with some freaking creepy old God knows who. And they say, oh, it's understandable that they wouldn't want to take a call from the government. Oh, really? You mean the government that gave them free phones and put them in a free place to live and gave them free food and gave, that government, they wouldn't want to take their calls? Well, call me crazy, but I think that if that is the case, we should be a little bit more restrictive over who we give. But they wouldn't listen to that. They wouldn't care. And that's just their approach to everything. It's just, once again, minimize, hand wave away, describe it as something totally different, focus on Congress being the one that's at fault here, and whether, because of the bipartisan border bill that had a real shot at actually securing the border, and by securing the border, they mean making sure that we let at least 5,000 people in a day. And then, it's just so stupid. geez, I can't believe the narrative that they just cling to, like, no matter what's happened, no matter what new evidence comes out, no matter what questions they're asked and who's asking them, it's always the same thing. It's always the same thing with these people, and it's just, I mean, I would even say at some point you got to own up to it, but I don't think they ever will. I really don't think that anyone is ever going to actually own up to how badly everything was done during this administration. It's just, it runs so deep with so many different people that it just doesn't seem like there's ever really going to be an answer to it. And the best we're going to ever really get to know in detail is what we've been able to find and are continuing to find through this next period of about now through, and what's come out already now through like probably a month after Trump's inauguration, around then, after they have a chance to go through whatever's left of records that they probably tried to destroy or whatever. I mean, it's just so, the thing is so out of control. It got so, look at the last 4 years. Look at what's happened. I mean, it's crazy. In California now, after they repealed the ridiculous law to allow people to shoplift up to $999 worth of stuff before they would be considered worth a felony or even arresting at all, really, because they're just going to give them a stern talking to and then send them on their way. Now that the people have said, we've had enough of this, we don't want this going on in our communities anymore, we want cops to actually do their job again, and we want people who are shoplifting and stealing stuff, we want them arrested. And there's videos now coming out of the state where people are just so shocked that they're getting arrested after they come out of a department store or wherever they come out of with there's all this stuff that they just swooped off the shelves. They're just astonished. Wait, what do you mean? This isn't enough for a felony? I didn't take enough stuff. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But they grew accustomed to being able to do this. They just stroll in and just grab whatever they want, walk out, and who cares? Who cares if the store goes under? Who cares? Like, it's actually quite satisfying in this case to see. But it's just crazy to listen to the bewilderment. That's like, what do you mean I can't steal this stuff? I can steal this stuff. There should be no problem with me stealing this stuff. That's how out of control everything's gotten. So, thank you, Biden administration, for all the wonderful, things you did and all the wonderful policies that I'm sure I don't know if they, but they definitely didn't have a direct hand in this one, but they surely supported the idea. It's not like they would have been against it. And they probably wanted it to be like, I mean, as they've said before, they want California to be a template for the way the rest of the country looks. So I can safely say, as a resident here, no, you don't want that. You don't want that. But you keep up with the act of acting like you want it. It very well may be that you do end up getting it. But anyways, so let's get into the fun stuff for today. I don't know where to start. Let's see. How long is this? Oh, it's actually pretty long. Hold on. Let me just see real quick. I don't remember exactly what's in this, so I remember what's at the beginning, but I don't want to go through if it's not related to. Yes, this is related. Okay, all right. So this is in relation to MSNBC's ratings at the moment, and the way that they pay their hosts and their reporters on the channel it's incredible. It's incredible that they have paid this group what they're paying them. It's oh man. And to see the return on the investment man, that's not good. That's not a good sign that you made some wise decisions. But anyway, this is a video with several clips from MSNBC of them, and some, I think, one roundtable at CNN, just discussing what's going to happen, because there was a rumor going around, I think, that Elon Musk was thinking about buying it. I don't know if he actually has, he already has so many companies he has to run, and he seems to be intent on actually being hands-on with what he buys. So I don't think that would be something he would want to add to his growing portfolio. But nevertheless, it's still if it does go up for sale because of how bad it's doing, it would be interesting to see if somebody that was kind of entrepreneurial minded and forward thinking and had some ideas for where they could take it, did something really interesting with the channel, or did something where they could really give it some more modern and more unpartisan sort of contribution on top of all the crap that they've put out on over on that channel for so long. But this is a compilation of reactions to the idea of Elon Musk specifically buying MSNBC. So we'll go ahead and go over this one real quick, and then we'll come out on the other side. We got a bunch of stuff to get through. So, I don't have the volume up. Sorry.
And if you would vote for that, people may not feel so confident that they're safe with you. This is not crazy. This is legitimate feelings of fear of you, and a feeling that you might not be someone they could trust. If this thing goes way south, autocracies go south real fast,
they do.
And things get ugly, and people get asked to do things and turn people in and point people out and turn on them. And if you're voting,
oh my God,
gleefully for this, and people might, may not feel so confident in you anymore.
Yeah, tell me about
real,
it. Tell me about it.
You kind of have to live with it.
Yeah,
so if you think that you can vote
you
for what people
liar.
see as their destruction, and then demand that they still are cool with you and kiki with you and have Thanksgiving with you, I think you're kind of missing the point.
No, I think you are. I think you're missing the point.
And autocracy and fascism are things that are legitimate to be afraid of.
Oh, fuck off.
So you may want to step back.
They are taking Musk's comments seriously.
Oh, here we go. Roly-poly.
There is a serious undercurrent to this, and it is the following. In some countries where we've seen democratic backsliding, where some oppositional media outlets have been captured by the government, a process known as media capture, this is exactly what happens. A ally of the leader like Musk comes in and buys a media outlet that is viewed as oppositional, and then he turns the content and makes it more friendly to the person in power. That has happened before in other countries. That's part of the concern when, even if Elon Musk is just joking, that's part of the concern here when it comes to MSNBC. But at the moment, this spinoff that Comcast is doing will take at least a year to complete. There's no immediate sale or any of that, I'm told, that is planned.
CNN contributor Carrie Champion joins us in our fifth seat. So, Carrie, I want to ask you about this idea of media takeover, because after Elon Musk purchased Twitter, changed it into X, there's no doubt that he exercised some power there. So how do you hear this even ingest kind of purchase of a cable network?
Good to be with you tonight.
Good to be with you as well.
Thanks for having me. I think that we should believe everything that is said from this administration.
I'm sure you do.
I don't think that we have the luxury to dismiss it as him being someone
except for
who's
things
being funny
that are,
or
true.
Someone who is just being himself, or that is his brand. X, and you said in some ways, always. I feel like X, I don't know if anyone is on it in any capacity. I don't know if you're on it. You're the only one? You're on it? You all are on it? Okay. I've actually decided to take a rest of peace because it is not a peaceful place for me.
Oh, it is, unless you go around starting shit.
I don't agree with this current administration. Most people can say that it's not a peaceful place. I would not.
Look at Scott Jakes. He's
I wouldn't be
so
surprised
confused.
if there was an actual bid made to take on MSNBC, but the fact that it just can't happen in real life.
And we
just can't.
It's not even for sale.
Yeah, it's not officially for sale.
The last
it's not
time he
even realistic.
mused about maybe buying something.
It's not even realistic in real life, but I do believe that media.
Yeah, just keep talking.
Here at this table, if you don't agree, we are in for some tough. We're in for some tough years ahead. I do believe that we're going to be able to be as safe or say what we want to. I don't think free speech is going to be as free.
Now, platforms are not regulated right now, which gives them
exactly.
carte blanche to whatever they want right now.
Hold on. Okay. I don't know if they just never catch this or if they really are, all just as authoritarian as they sound. But it's not a publisher. It's a platform. It's a platform. I'm pulling the Biden. I have to whisper. It's a platform. It's not a publisher. It doesn't have control over what its users do. It's not supposed to have control of what its users do. That's why I mean, I can't believe that this is still an argument. Like, this is still some sort of thing that's used to try and prove a point from these people where they're like, people are just posting whatever they want to post on it. Yeah, just like you can say whatever you want to say. That's the point. That's why it exists. It's so stupid. Anyway, go ahead. Get back to your stupid point.
Likes to be regulated. And so to buy MSN, he would go under some federal regulations.
Who's regulating CNN right now?
The FCC.
We're not a broadcast. It's cable. I mean, I don't really think cable stations are under the same regulatory
Here we go.
That broadcast is.
It's definitely regulated more than than Facebook and
there's
Twitter.
Still what she's saying is that there's still a litmus test of journalism that you have to pass. You can't come on TV and just make on things
because you're a publisher.
That happens on X. Please don't give me the eyebrow furrow as if you don't know what I'm talking about. It happens often on X. I can go and say the color is
because
blue and I will be met with
it's not a news source.
Disrespectful remarks. No one's regulating the N-word. No one's regulating the criticism. No one is regulating how people are treated.
How much government regulation of the First Amendment are you for?
Yeah, exactly.
If I came on here and I just started calling you all kind of names, do you think the bosses would let me continue to do that?
I mean, it happens to me occasionally. I don't know if you watch
it doesn't happen to you, but it doesn't happen for me. And I know that I wouldn't be able to do that. There's a level of professionalism in what we do here.
Yeah, professional. You think people need to have professionalism when they go on X.
On this thing called
You're also having
that is demented. That's absolutely. And I didn't watch that whole thing. I obviously watched through Brian Stelter. I forgot what he said, but that's sick. That's absolutely disgusting. That is the leftist worldview in a nutshell, right there, right now, with the way the left is. They're out calling people authoritarians and out calling people, fascists and all this stuff, while they put on the same level a news station on television, on cable TV, and X, a social media platform for the public to post whatever they want to post on. There's no, these two things are supposed to be. No, they're not. No, they're a little different. In fact, they're very different. In fact, they're just about polar opposites when it comes to. I mean, does this lady? Does she want people to, have their emails monitored by some government agency that makes sure that you're not stating misinformation when you or you're not saying the N-word, the dreaded N-word. You're not saying that in private to your friends when you're shit talking them or whatever. Like, what? Where does it end? Because this is obviously. I can't believe that this is still a thing. I can't believe it's still a thing to that degree that I know it's always going to be there to some extent, but that on CNN, on the cable channel, on CNN, they're going to have some bitch come in and tell everybody, well, I don't even go on because it's not regulated at all. There's no regulation. No shit, there's no regulations. There's not supposed to be any regulations. It's just, oh man. Anyway, yeah, CNN, lovely group of people. So anyway, like I said, I'm sorry, that wound me up a little bit. But this is what I mean by this projection of like this idea, because that's their idea. They don't like anything that ears to the right at all, which is basically, to them, that's anything that even is slightly opposed to your worldview. And so, we need government to come in and regulate it. Of course. What else will we do? We need government. We need the government to come in and regulate it. Regulation is what we need. I can't believe people have this, and people go around in a country like America, the only country in the world that has this stance on the situation, and people are openly in the news, in television broadcast news, advocating that, no, it needs to be regulated. Man, it's just like what is your life like? Do you have any kind of incidents of excitement or anything that you do that you would consider to be, a little bit daring, or I mean, do you have a life at all? That's a good one. I don't know. I really am kind of concerned. Anyway, now we're just starting on our journey, so let's go into, that was a good place to start, obviously. So let's see, there's 3 people who are kind of, well, 2 and then a conflict that I was highlighting, but I don't know whether I should start with one of the 2 or just, actually, because this isn't really related directly to the media sort of thing, I'll go ahead and do this one first, because it kind of is, but it isn't, because one of the things that I'm going to highlight in one of the videos is this video has been going around quite a bit lately, because of how absolutely pompous and arrogant it sounds when you hear someone like Kyle Kulinski talk about, how the virtues of his content versus the sellout Joe Rogan, and how terrible he is and what a fraud he is. I don't know how he gets his ego that high, because he's just a joke for the most part. But the thing that is mostly upsetting to him, I mean, if everything was the same but he didn't vote for Trump, I don't think he would have been stating any of this. So here's someone who didn't vote for Trump but is now kind of regretting that he didn't, or at least that he voted for Kamala, and that's Stephen A. Smith, who I haven't talked about yet on this channel at all. He's a fascinating guy, because a lot of what he says, he's like a Bill Maher kind of character for the most part, but he doesn't really talk about politics as much. He's a sports guy, and as someone who's not really a sports guy myself, I don't, actually run across people that are mostly into sports broadcasts that often. But when they start dipping their toes into the political side of things and they get highly invested in it one way or another, then people start paying attention from the other side of things. But what's interesting is that he's definitely not just a kind of take things at face value kind of character. Now, he's been very, very, very wrong several times about a lot of things. But I will say that at the bare minimum, he is open-minded enough to at least want to have the conversation and not flip out when he does. He's not trying to shut down the conversations either, and that's definitely a big bonus. But seeing the immediate sort of change in the demeanor, and I think that is something that people need to highlight more because it's palpable. It's there. There is such a different feeling among people in the country since the last election that it's okay to come out and say that you support Trump now. It's okay to come out and say that you voted for Trump now. Before the election, it was almost like maybe it was leaning towards a direction where finally it was okay to say, yeah, I support Trump. But a year or two ago, it still was not something people were allowed to do. If you came out and said anything positive about Trump, like 2 years ago, you were immediately shunned and booted off of any kind of platform or anything that you had any kind of sway over. But now it's all right. Like I say, it's okay. People can come out and say it and not be buried for it. People can post it and not be swamped with nothing but a bunch of hate-filled rants about how you need to die. Now, once again, it's free platform. You can do that if you want, although it's just sad to see that it was so prominent and so all-encompassing, and it literally made people just not want to vocalize their support for a second term for President Trump. Now that the election's over, some people that are clear-headed have said, man, this wasn't really, it does seem like this was the step in the right direction that we really needed to get the country back to a sort of state of sanity to where we could let any kind of policies that actually were going to help us, legitimately help us, start to flow. The problem is that when your former comrades in arms, I guess, hear you say something that blasphemous about the one you're not supposed to name, that dastardly evil Trump, then they tend to go on rants if they have their own show. And that's what happened with a guy who, I'm sorry, I can't stand this freaking moron, Roland Martin, and his race hustling cabal of constant racist allegations about everything and everyone that disagrees with him or Kamala Harris or BLM or anything that they have to say. Like if you're at all if you're at all in opposition to that kind of that mindset, if you're at all in opposition to Roland, then you're obviously racist. I mean, there's no other freaking explanation.
Black Lives Matter was founded by a bunch of fat, black, radical lesbians.
Of course, yes, exactly. That's what Black Lives Matter was. So anyway, but he's very angry at Stephen A. Smith for discussing his thoughts on the last election in the way that he has, and so he's got a word or two to say for Stephen A. Smith that no, as a self-respecting black man, you can't say these things. You can't have a opinion of your own that you come to of your own free will and based on your own information that you see and believe to be true. No, you have to believe what I believe. I, Roland Martin, who stands up for what's really the truth for the black community and This guy, he's something else. This is Stephen A. Smith's response to Roland Martin, with a little clip of Roland in the middle of it to show look what he looks like in a cowboy hat, I guess. And it's of course a train wreck, as you might imagine it is, but it's an entertaining train wreck at least. So we're gonna check this one out now, and hold on, let me I'll save that one for later.
You are fake news.
Just remember that part. That one's all right.
The fuck are you doing?
Yeah, that's a good question. Anyway, let's go ahead with this one.
And we're going to get started today in the world of politics and social media, where many of you have taken issue with my takes on the political headlines. I want to say for the record, that's fair. I accept it, and it often comes with being a pundit in this business. I've accepted that a long time ago.
There's a long clip. We might not watch the whole thing.
I want to address some recent comments from my friend Roland Martin, who took issue with my thoughts this past weekend on the Justice Department's report on the January 6th Capitol riots in 2021.
That's right.
In summary, I made the connection that Donald Trump appeared to be right to some degree when it came to the conspiracy theories about the FBI's involvement on that day.
Boom. I was just talking about that too.
Well, here's what Roland Martin had to say Monday about my comments on his show, Roland Martin Unfiltered. Take a listen.
I have no idea what the hell Stephen is just talking about.
Wait, hold on. This reminds me of somebody. Does it remind you of a little certain someone? That's a clue. That's a clue to anybody out there. Maybe you can guess who that is. that reminds me of him. He's a little fatter, but he's even dumber.
I know Stephen A. I respect Stephen A. Stephen A., you know sports.
No, you don't know him or respect him, apparently.
You know what the hell you talking about.
If this is what you're going to say.
Like, I literally have no idea what the hell he was talking about there. How he's pissed off, and the Democrats, and Trump said stuff was rigged. And y'all, MAGA is running that clip everywhere. Oh, they are saying, see, even Stephen, the truth, the truth. They always know the truth. Go to my iPad. Associated Press.
Go to my iPad.
Fact Focus. Inspector General's January 6th report misrepresented as proof of FBI setup.
Wow, we gotta take this.
Of what the
this
right
is obviously
saying is that
that's obvious.
January 6th was.
I've noticed this a lot lately. And I guess I just have to point it out. Leftists just love headlines. They just love the headlines. You never hear them read. When you watch someone on the right discuss a news article, they always at least read a little bit of the article. Leftists just try to throw up a headline and try to mic drop like that's the big story. I'm sorry, the headline alone is not proof of anything. It's a talking point, but like to use that as your evidence. I mean, talk about desperation. This is just ridiculous. And sorry, it is proof of FBI involvement, and it's proof that they're liars because they said no, we didn't, and they've been doing everything they can to keep this hush hush for the whole 4 years that Biden's been in office, and ever since the January 6th Capitol riot, there has always been a question of what was the FBI involvement. It's the same thing with the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping plot that was never going to take place, because that was more than anything, and kind of shown to be a entrapment, because the guys that were involved in that whole thing never have even come to any kind of conclusion at all that they needed to do something like kidnap the governor and of Michigan and kill her, and it's like, I'm sorry, the guys that you were hanging out with and trying to butter up to do this, one of the agents one of the informants was sleeping with one of the dudes that was involved in the plot. Like, you don't think that she's maybe trying to nudge him in a certain direction? And no, not just in a certain direction when it comes to no. I mean, nudge him in a direction like, yeah, you're gonna go kill that bitch. I mean, to say that no, this isn't proof of anything. Sorry, we've been waiting to hear something about this because Chris Wray refuses to speak on it. We've been waiting to hear about this for the last 4 years that they've been asking that same question, and now we find out, oh yeah, look, they were. Wow, what a surprise. So what else are they lying about? Roland over here is saying, no, just shut up. Just shut up. No, not proof of anything. No. I'm sorry, fat ass. Fuck you. And I'm sorry I'm going to get very, very angry. It's Christmas Eve. I shouldn't be this angry. But, jeez, just listen to this tool. I mean, he's fine with the FBI. And this is a black guy who's all BLM centered and I'm sorry, aren't FBI law enforcement? Yeah, that's right, they are. So what's up there? What's with all the confidence in them? What's with all the belief in they're definitely doing the right thing here? Like, no way in hell they could possibly be lying or doing anything wrong. Jeez Louise. It's what a hypocrite. It's not even a strong enough word. This guy's just a fraud. Anyway, listen to him continue to basically shill for the FBI in this clip.
Fine, it was great, it was wonderful, but the FBI, it was a setup. The FBI,
yeah, listen,
they were
here we go.
The whole deal. They were agents. They were the ones who were starting stuff.
Nobody said agents started stuff.
And so when Stephen A. is
the
going
report,
on,
from the liars, the report from the liars,
making Trump out to be true. No, he lied.
About what? What did he lie about?
He lied.
Couple of things. First off, Roland Martin, nice touch with the cowboy hat. You should wear it more often. It's fitting of you. You are from Texas, after all.
I don't know.
You're a Texas fan, if I remember correctly. So it's more apropos that you put on that hat, even more so than I do. So good look there. But nice try. Ain't gonna work this way. Before I get into it any further, let me show my audience exactly what Roland Martin was replying to when he said, I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. This is what he was responding to that had him all up in a tizzy. Take a listen. The news comes amidst a bombshell report from the Justice Department that revealed the FBI had at least 26 confidential informants on the ground when the Capitol was stormed on January 6, 2021. The report says most of the informants engaged in illegal activity during the chaos. The Justice Department says only 3 of its 26 informants present had been instructed to observe potential domestic terrorist suspects on the day of the riot. The rest of the 23 appeared to have gone to the Capitol on their own accord. Upon hearing news of the report, Vice President-elect J.D. Vance posted the following on X, quote, for those keeping score at home, this was labeled a dangerous conspiracy theory months ago, end quote. Didn't hear anything about that before the election. Didn't hear anything about that when the quote-unquote insurrection was broached by Vice President Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee. The belief that Donald Trump was a danger to democracy and using this as a profound, illuminating bullet point to make that case. And now here we are yet again finding even more evidence to Donald Trump's claims when he articulated that process is rigged. My big issue is that I'm really, really sick and tired of every time I turn around finding something else that the Democrats have lied about or downplayed or misrepresented along the way. I mean, I see Republicans like
that's probably the most important thing. If you're a Democrat and you're not pissed off, I mean, you're either a coward or a shill. There's not really any other category because, I mean, like he just said, every time he turns around, something they insist, COVID, what's it called? Well, of course, there was Black Lives Matter, defund the police, Ukraine, freaking, like, all these things that are like, inflation's transitory. That's another. The border is closed. No one's coming. There isn't mass migration happening. Every time you turn around, something they said is complete bullshit, and that's what he's talking about. It's, and now we have it with January 6th, and let alone this whole story. Aside from the pipe bomber situation, which they have, I mean, I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole. That's another. But just as another little cherry on top, you have that whole incident, which played out so perfectly that it's strange they never talk about it anymore. Yet, if you actually look at anything beyond surface level involving the pipe bombs, it's such a smoking gun that, like, it's obvious that this was like basically like insurance. Like if something at the Capitol doesn't go crazy, well, we have these pipe bombs, this pipe bomb story that is going to really, I mean, this will be, the media could easily run with this and make a case for the dangers of Donald Trump and his insurrection he was leading on that day. Everything was so meticulously planned ahead of time for a group of people that were arriving in Washington to protest the certification of an election, which, by the way, was under such circumstances that, I mean, it's obvious that there was shady things done before the election with the intent that this was going to be beneficial to the Democratic Party and detrimental to the Republican Party. For example, the mass mail-in ballot thing. Even in states that didn't even have their own local governments certify that, yes, this is a way that we will allow our citizens to cast their ballots. Some states hadn't even concluded that they were going to allow for mail-in ballots when a bunch of mail-in ballots showed up, and they're forced to use them, and they're forced to actually use those as an official part of the vote count. And it's just, once again, this is all stuff that you see and you question, you wonder, why was it that way? And you're told, shut up, no, you're wrong. This can't be true. That's not the way that it's happening. And then you see more and you see more. And eventually, when you start to really wonder what's going on, that's when they get to peak anger, like Roland Martin. Like, shut up, stop talking about this. This. Look at this report that was put out by the same people. Like, I'm sorry, the people that put this out are the same people that lied in the first place. Why is this some kind of bombshell evidence that we should believe this report now? Now it's not believe Christopher Wray. Now we need to believe the report that's come out from this entity that's, bureaucrats that are obviously on Democratic, it's just so, oh God. Anyway, I had to pause it and point that out because, man, it's funny him saying that right there. It's so perfect because once again, it's like, don't question, just accept this as the truth, and everything will be fine. If you just accept that as the truth, it's fine.
Kelly or Officer Tatum or Candace Owens or, the Sean Hannitys of the world. You know what I'm getting tired of? To the Democratic Party. You know what I'm getting really pissed off about? I'm getting really ticked off at every time they open their mouth about something pertaining to y'all, they seem right to make the case.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it?
That the right had a monopoly on insidious, evil tendencies, corrupt tendencies, duplicitous, hypocritical, untruthful tendencies. And every time they made those accusations, we turn around and find out that at least some of them are guilty of the same shit. I don't know about y'all, but I'm sick of all of it. I'm sick of all of it. They've actually made Donald Trump look like he was right instead of them.
Imagine that.
That is what Roland Martin is responding to. That is what he is saying. He doesn't understand what the hell I'm talking about and what I'm saying when he brings that up. First of all, let me say this about Roland Martin. Not hangout buddies or anything like that, but we are friends. He's a guest on this show anytime I ask him to. I respect his knowledge, and he is absolutely right. This is his lane, not mine.
That's sad.
Sports is my thing. This is what he does.
Well, he does it bad.
But I am allowed to be an expert on what the hell comes out of my mouth and what I believe I said. And that is why I clap back respectfully at my man Roland Martin, not his panelists chirping and mimicking and laughing and giggling in the sideline like anybody know who the hell they are. I ain't talking about them. That's a waste of my time. I'm talking about my brother.
They are annoying as hell, though.
When you say you don't understand or you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, and you have a panel to piggyback and parrot every syllable you uttered, well, why are you doing it if you didn't understand what I'm talking about? Why am I getting attacked if you don't comprehend or understand what I was saying?
Because
if
he's
it's convoluted, why not ask me to come on and clarify? Why not talk to me and say, what exactly is it that you're trying to say? That is not what Roland Martin did, ladies and gentlemen. What he did instead was marry my thoughts to these extreme conspiracy theories that the MAGA right might have put out there about the FBI having some pivotal role in what transpired on January 6th, 2021.
Yeah, who would ever think
That's what
that?
he was doing. Look at this right here. Look at this report from the DOJ. It reads, confusion and lack of coordination contributed to the FBI's inaccurate report to Congress that had canvassed field offices. After January 6th, the FBI reported to Congress that it had directed its field officers prior to January 6th to canvass their CHSS-4 information concerning threats in connection with the January 6th electoral certification. However, as noted, we found that no canvassing of field officers for source information had occurred. We found that the FBI statements to Congress were not intentionally inaccurate, and that confusion and lack of coordinated communications contributed to the inaccurate reporting. Why do I...
Hang on just a second. Let me say something about this, because that is in and of itself pretty deceptive, because I can't stand this. This is so stupid. So the reason that they couldn't communicate this because of in front of Congress is because they are trying to hide behind rules that we can't talk about this while an ongoing investigation is going on, or we can't reveal information about sources and methods in front of Congress, then do it in closed session. They have closed session. You can do it behind closed doors. You don't have to do it in front of the public, but you don't want to do that either. You'd rather hide behind the same excuses you always give as to why you can't say this, why you can't say that, instead of spelling it out for people so they have an exact answer that they can take and go forward with in confidence. And why? Well, looks awfully suspicious, doesn't it? Maybe it's because every time there's something to be suspicious about, it turns out there was good reason to be suspicious. And it's like Stephen is so close to getting at the truth here. He is at least questioning. I mean, as you can see, people on the left, for the most part, don't seem to be too enthusiastic about the idea of even questioning these things. But even worse, like they don't even. I watched congressional sessions where they're questioning Christopher Wray, where they're questioning other FBI top officials on what exactly happened on January 6th, where exactly were confidential human sources, what were they instructed to do, were they instructed to, and they won't give any answers. They refuse to give answers. They will hide behind like I said, they will hide behind procedural answers they're instructed to give when asked these questions. And like I said, if they actually wanted to inform Congress, they could do it in closed door sessions where they don't have cameras and the public isn't in the room, and inform them. And then the elected representatives can inform their constituents without informing them about the specifics. Inform them, no, it's yes, we confirmed with the FBI, everything was on the level, everything they did was fine, it wasn't, but they don't do that. Why? Why don't they do that? It begs the question, why aren't they doing that? And you have no choice but to arrive at the conclusion that they're just full of shit. Now, they could prove us wrong, but they refuse to do that. And I just suggest that, once again, look at the track record here. Look at the track record and look at how many times, as Stephen A. Smith said, how many times people will go out of their way to shame and to cast all kinds of allegations against someone who is questioning the narrative that's put out by the FBI. And like it was the same shit when people were saying Biden isn't mentally competent to be president, and you have tools like Joe Scarborough who will go out in front of the whole goddamn country and say, this is the best version of Joe Biden that we've ever seen. He's more than cogent. He's sharp. People around him can barely keep up with him. He's always busy doing something. Then we find out, no, it's not exactly the case. Now we find out staffers have been making most of the decisions for Biden. And who actually has been the president is still kind of up in the air. We really don't know. It seems like a lot of staffers at the White House have been actually the ones in charge, but I tend to disbelieve the idea that people like, especially when you're dealing with figures like, I don't know, Merrick Garland or Pete Buttigieg or Jennifer Granholm or any of these appointed people. These people are with strong personalities, with a very I'll give them this, endless ambition, but unfortunately ruthless demeanor and absolutely immoral beliefs that allow them to rationalize anything and everything to get what they want to get. And it's just like, you know, you're talking about people like that, and then follow that up with, no, there's no way someone like Merrick Garland would be instructing his Department of Justice to be trying to spy on pro-life Catholics or be spying on parents who have concerns at school board meetings about what their children are reading in schools. And it's like, oh, he wouldn't, would he? Well, then how do you explain what's been going on? I mean, like, we've had FBI whistleblowers coming out and saying that this is what's going on. And it's not like these, you think these rumors come out from nowhere and someone just says something completely random with no references, and what, people just manufacture evidence to make it seem like it's true? And when it's found out about, people don't just state immediately, I have no idea what you're talking about, that I've never seen that report, we never produced such a document, I don't know what you're... No, they say, yeah, we put that out, but, and then they put in the weasel words, like it was not intended to be used to go after people's First Amendment freedom of speech is constitutionally protected. Bullshit. Sorry. Don't believe it. You know why? Because there's no reason in the world that you've given me to believe it. I mean, when you go to the point of saying that we will not mandate a vaccine for anyone in the country, to now the vaccine's mandatory. Now there's a vaccine mandate. You kind of already sunk the ship that you're credible. And you just do it over and over again. So I can't understand where the loyalty becomes so freaking like almost violently defended by people like this. Anyway, I'm not going to probably watch this whole clip. We'll just continue for a little bit, but I forgot how long it is. So, and it's mostly just further, evidence of the same thing. But, it is important overall, the narrative, because there is going to be, at least in my opinion, it seems like there's going to be a sort of exodus of people who are more classically leaning left-wing people who kind of are looking around and wondering what happened to my party. This kind of seems what was, and I'm not going to get into this today. I was going to get into this the other day, but I'll get into it when I am going over some of the other things that are related, because it's kind of what's been happening with Anna Kasparian, and it's like Cenk is trying to seem like he's going along with it, but you could tell by just his overall demeanor that, like, he's cringing as he's doing it, like, the whole time. He's only doing it because it feels like he's forced to do it, like he has no choice but to do it, and he doesn't want to be so far removed from common sense that he is perceived to be someone who's anti-democratic, because that's the whole point of a lot, is that we can't delegitimize the presidency this time around, because we've done that in every cycle and they're starting to notice, and so we have to use other means to, basically throw them a handout here and there, and basically suggest that it turns out that it's good when we work together, so we should and then there's the whole bipartisan thing, which I'm with. I can't remember who it was that said it, but I'm with whoever said it, that bipartisan doesn't necessarily mean good. Just because something is bipartisan might not necessarily mean that it was created with the best of intentions, or that it was even intended to be fair. It just means that both sides helped on crafting it, but I don't like that side. I don't like what that side's trying to do. Right now, they are unapologetically letting every single issue that is even in the slightest considered to be, like I said, nope, yeah, that's not true, we can't, no, that's obviously not the case. But once again, you lied to me so many times now. How am I supposed to believe you? How am I supposed to take that on good faith at all when I don't owe you good faith? You've done nothing to earn good faith. So anyway, like I said, we'll go back to a little bit of this, but I'd probably cut it in just a little bit. So.
Bring that up. It doesn't convict the FBI. It doesn't authenticate or validate assertions from the MAGA right that somehow the FBI was corrupt and they manipulated the proceedings to, invoke or provoke violence at the U.S. Capitol that ultimately will be blamed on Donald Trump. That's not what I was saying. What I was saying is, why the hell are we hearing about this now? What took the report so damn long? How come we didn't hear about this before the election? And is it possible that the reason why we didn't hear about it before the election is because folks on the left wanted to marry January 6th completely and totally and utterly to Donald Trump? Is that clear enough? Since y'all got people chirping in you, since you got people chirping in your studio, let me chirp to people in my studio. Brandon, is that clear enough? Is that clear enough, man? I think it is. But let me go a step further. I'm a registered independent. There's people on Roland Martin Unfiltered. By the way, watch that. The brother's brilliant. I got love.
No, don't watch it. Don't watch it.
I ain't trying to dissuade anybody from watching my man Roland Martin, because I watch him.
It's
what I'm
just
saying
race
is
hustling.
these people that were behind the scenes before they came on as your panelists. I recall one person saying, I either need to know what the hell I'm talking about or admit that I'm 100% MAGA. I got news for you. I'm neither. I don't completely know all the intricate details, nor am I MAGA. I'm a registered independent who voted for Kamala Harris. Oh, by the way, they tried to sit up there and say, I didn't vote for Kamala Harris. I'm sorry, I thought y'all were about facts. I did vote for her. I had my issues. I had my reservations. But I was unapologetic about who I was voting for, and I was very transparent about it. Where's your facts? So you get to engage in innuendo, express frustration, but I can't?
No.
Why not?
Because you're reprehensible.
Every time we turn around, all I was trying to say is that something repeatedly comes up that gives the right fodder to say, see, look what they did. When President Joe Biden decided to pardon his son Hunter, I got no problems with that. But I did have a problem with them lying about it for months, saying, we're about the rule of law. We're about the rule of law. We're about the rule of law. He said he's not going to pardon Hunter. They're about the rule of law, the rule of law, the rule of law. And then all of a sudden he pardons him and you hear crickets.
Yep. Yeah. It basically sums it up, except for the point that, at some point you have to kind of hit them where it hurts to get them to actually fess up to the breadth of what it is we're talking about. And right now what we're talking about is two sets of standards, two tiers of justice. There's new news today that came out that Biden just commuted the sentences of 37 out of 39 people on death row. And the reason was that they were people that were, I guess, convicted during Trump's presidency. So he basically gave life sentences instead of death penalties to 37 felons on death row. Some crimes I heard absolutely horrific. Slitting the throat of a little girl after he just killed her mother. And the reason is because, well, he was convicted during Trump's presidency. Now, I'm sorry, but these people are sick. And there's no, you could be a Democrat, fine. You're a Democrat. But there's a reason Bobby Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard and Joe Rogan. There's a reason Democrats with brains that actually use those brains to think about more than what can I do to suck up to somebody in a higher position than me so that maybe I can get that job next. It's people that actually have a mind to go that direction are not thinking about, well, how can we make sure that this doesn't come back to hurt the party? No, to hell with the goddamn party. What about the parents of kids killed by fentanyl? Or worse, killed by disgusting, sick pieces of garbage that shouldn't have even been in the country in the first place? I listen to people like that fucking fat moron Roland Martin go off like he's trying to score points in the situation by sticking up for a party that has no moral compass whatsoever. They threw it away a long time ago for points to one up the Republicans. It's an absolute joke. There's nothing about the Democrat Party today that is in the slightest bit redeemable. It's got to go through the ringer. It has got to be completely washed out and refilled, because anybody that is in line with this ideology today, they're not American Democrats. There's nothing American about them. They hate this country. They hate everybody in this country. They hate anybody that believes in the ideals of this country. They have nothing in common with any American citizen. They don't like American citizens. They don't like America. They don't like its values. They don't like its people. They don't like its customs or history. They want to destroy it all. And they love things like this because it just takes little jabs it takes another little chunk out of America's reputation and America's credibility, America's image on the world stage. And you see someone like Trump get in there and the whole goddamn world falls in line. Like, yep, time to straighten up. They're busy. They mean business again. They're not messing around anymore. They're not sending the old dementia-ridden guy out. Oh, no, here comes the guy that means business. So, I'm sorry, Roland Martin, but maybe watch a couple congressional hearings and listen to what was actually said. Listen to what the FBI director actually said to senators when questioned on this, and then tell me about, how it's so stupid to draw these conclusions based on the... Fuck off with that shit. It's ridiculous. Anyway, we're going long today. I have a bunch more I was gonna do. I think I'm gonna have to cut it down. We're gonna do maybe we're gonna do maybe one or two more. Let's do this kind of fast. Which ones are the most important? And I mean, they're all pretty important. Well, I have to do the one the episode was talking about. This one for sure, because this is kind of well, we've yet to really go into the deep underbelly of the online leftist YouTube content creator, or as they would, I'm sure, call themselves, the influencers. And who's one that we love, who happened to be in the intro to this episode? That's right. That's Mr. David Pakman, Mr. Faux morality, Mr. Reasonable. Whenever he shows up, you know it's going to be a rational, reasonable argument that is coming from a position that's just trying to get at the truth. That's all he wants. I don't think he understands anything about what he's talking about, but let's just roll with it for now. let's just just accept it on face value. That sure, whatever, David, we'll go along with this. So this is after he had been pulling the 3-alarm fire about his channel losing subscribers, and immediately rushed to make a video about it, and to basically go. And it's funny that I was playing that clip for of Dark Side Phil for Roland Martin, because this is even more of the forte of Dark Side Phil. Like, give me money, more paid subscribers, please. He's not wearing a cowboy hat, but he's basically doing the same thing DSP does, which is freak out on camera about how you need more money. And like, I'm sorry, that's not your subscribers or your viewers' goddamn concern. These are your concerns as a man and as a professional, supposedly, in what you're doing. Mr. That's an ad hominem. That's an ad hominem. I don't give a shit if it's an ad hominem. I'm going to say, you're an idiot. You're acting like an idiot. That's Jesse Lee Peterson basically saying, yeah, you can take your ad hominem and enjoy screwing yourself with it, because I don't give a shit if it's an ad hominem. You're acting like an idiot. And that's kind of what David Pakman does. But in this clip, you can see that David is not happy that people were taking his video that he made and laughing at him about it, because he was freaked out because after Donald Trump won and the people left his channel, because, I don't know, maybe he suggested that there's a potential for Kamala Harris to win Iowa, and as a result, then maybe win all the swing states. And then guess what happened? She lost Iowa, and she lost all the swing states. And he's wondering why people are leaving his channel. And so when people recognize that and rightly watch it and laugh, he thinks that that is a sign that the right wing's all coming for us. They're coming for all of us. They're coming for all of us leftist YouTubers. We have to band together. These right wingers they're gonna come and take us out. First of all, most of the people you consider right wingers or whatever, they're not right wingers. In fact, over half the people he mentions, I think, in this clip aren't even right wing at all. They're people who will, discuss topics that really don't really align either way. They're pretty independent-minded people. But they most certainly aren't hardcore right-wing content creators. A lot of them don't even make political content. They just talk about cultural or social issues. Or, one of them's a game streamer. But David's sure that they smell blood in the water and the sharks are circling. Oh boy. But so anyway, because of the delusion, and because it basically proves the point that I've talked about before several times now, where I've mentioned the right can think like the left and can think about what the left would do or will do in a certain situation that's coming up, and can kind of predict pretty well what is going to happen. And sometimes it sucks because you're like, oh no, here we go. They're gonna, and lo and behold, they're going to do this. They do this, and sometimes they're a little off, but they at least are in the right direction. With leftists, they can't stop thinking like leftists. They can't think like someone on the right because they don't. They totally misrepresent the right because they don't understand the right. They understand their perspective, so that's all they have to go to. So when they hear a story like this, their immediate reaction is like, "Oh man, yeah." When this happened to the right wingers, they all got upset and said that we were going to, take away their First Amendment rights and stop allowing them to post whatever they wanted on social media. Man, that's probably what they're going to do to us now. It's like, no, we're just laughing at the train wreck that you exhibit every time you talk on your stupid channel. Like, by all means, your fans and you go enjoy yourselves. Have a good time. It's fine. But it's pretty funny when we watch you have a meltdown because 10,000 people left your channel. And I've got barely anybody subscribed because I barely started and I already fell asleep on stream like 3 times. But hey, you know what? Like, I'm not a stick in the mud and out crying because this ex-YouTuber laughed at me. So anyway, this is him very angry, very, very stern and angry that people would dare laugh at him while he was going through his nervous breakdown over his loss of subscribers that happened right after he made a bunch of false predictions that didn't come true. And why in the world would that happen? Why in the world would people not want to pay me for my false opinions that are so divorced they couldn't even come close to reality? Why in the world would that happen? I don't know. Let's watch with David and see if we can figure out what exactly is going on, because I guess maybe he needs our help or something. I don't know. And let's see. But where is that? Here we go. Okay.
I never expected that I would ever be doing a segment like this, but it's where we are. I don't know that I've ever seen a group of sore winners like the MAGA people after last Tuesday. Everyone from Charlie Kirk to Dave Rubin, Tim Pool, a streamer named Asmongold, are now gleefully taking pleasure in the short period of time during which we in progressive media lost some subscribers after Donald Trump's win last week. They smell blood in the water, and they want to end progressive media. Don't believe me? Well, I've got the receipts here. I told you last week, right when Trump won, that we and other left-wing YouTubers lost some subscribers. We lost about 10,000.
No, you didn't
Midas
tell.
Touch lost about 30.
You didn't tell people. You told people in a nervous wreck that, oh my God, guys, my channel is hemorrhaging subscribers. That was the word you used. It's hemorrhaging subscribers. We're just bleeding, and all the progressive YouTubers are all just mass exodus from their channel. That was what you said. That's not what you're saying now, but that was what you said. So let's put it into perspective here, because that's why people were laughing at you, Mr. Melodrama. But go ahead, continue.
30,000. Brian Tyler Cohen, Jesse Dollemore, others. We were all seeing it. The loss was really rapid on Wednesday, slower on Thursday, and by Friday, slowly, we started to see gains again. As new people said, I don't like the results. I'm going to find someone, a like-minded...
Wait, so you're saying that at first it was really bad, then it started to calm down, and now things are back to normal. But your freak out was totally warranted. This guy, he's such a fucking
media
goof.
outlet, and they say, I like this. And so by Friday,
new
subscribers started to outpace the people canceling. Don't get me wrong. There's a ton of people canceling, but the new subscribers are outpacing them. Well, the MAGA influencers caught wind of this.
Oh, and by the way,
bloodthirsty, and they want
the MAGA influencers. By the way, once again, I don't think any of these people, well, maybe some of them, but I hope there's not too many, because I'm so sick of anybody that's calling themselves an influencer. Like I've said before, never call me. I don't care how big my channel gets or how big my content gets. I don't ever want to be referred to ever as an influencer. Because this guy's an influenced shit. And he's got a pretty big channel. But yeah, anybody that is influenced by David Pakman, I'm sorry. That's not great influence. You might as well be under the influence. But anyway, here we go. Let's keep going with this. Oh, look at Mr. Happy Boy here. There we go. All right, let's go.
To end us. They believe that now that Trump won, that now that Trump is going to go after adversarial media, now that Republicans have the Senate, that they can put us out of our misery for good and destroy independent left-wing media.
He's saying, not me.
Obsessed with this. There are hundreds of hours of videos talking about my explanation of what's going on. I'll give you some examples. Trump-supporting streamer Tim Pool did a video called David Pakman Says It's Over. Losing subscribers and members, begs leftists to please come back. A video in which he laughs and says that our supporters must have been artificially supported by the platforms, and they aren't even real subscriber numbers, that there's a thumb on the scales, was the term he uses, that now is being removed.
He might have had some evidence
Trump
for that,
won.
I'm just saying.
Right-wing YouTuber Nate the Lawyer did a video called Top Leftist YouTubers Losing Massive Amount of Subs After Trump Win, Blame Mainstream Media. Well, I didn't blame mainstream media. Whether losing 10,000 out of 2.6 million is a lot,
my God.
well, I don't know. Big time
now let's listen to the brag.
Asmongold, who I have to tell you, I actually historically kind of like and find very entertaining.
Of course.
Asmongold did a video that now has more than 1 million views, where he says, well, I wonder why Pakman and the left is losing subscribers. Oh, too bad. I'd be glad to appear with Asmongold and talk about this.
Well, here's the thing, David. I don't think he wants you on his show, but if he did, it's because, you know what all those three have in common? They're laughing at you. They're not trying to end you. They're not coming for you. They're not looking to put you out of your misery and shut you down. They were all laughing at you for your melodramatic, nervous breakdown because of 10,000 subs leaving. That's what they were doing. That's what everyone on the right is doing. They are laughing at you. Maybe you should learn to handle that instead of going on tirades and proclaiming the sky is falling like you always do. But then again, that is what you always do. Anytime the right does anything, it's always the right's fault, and it's always the right that is your enemy. So let's just talk about what they're doing and say that they're coming to end us. They're coming to destroy our social medias. And this is pathetic. This is so, I mean, it's like, it's almost LARPing levels pathetic. This is like, oh, jeez. Like, he can't comprehend it. He doesn't get it. He can't understand why people would be having a laugh about some big leftist streamer freaking out over their losing subs right after an election where they got their asses handed to them. Where they got embarrassed because they were so off mark, they couldn't peg anything, and they all were coping so hard. And then the reality starts to set in. And they all use different means to deal with reality. David's means was to freak out about the sub count going down and contacting all the other leftist YouTubers and asking them, were they losing subs too? And they all are like, yeah, we are, yeah. But David's the only one to come out and be like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. Mass exodus from our channels. This has got to be because of the right. I'm sorry. This is what he thinks. This is his theory. This is perfect. Just anyway, keep at it, sport. Let's go.
Dave Rubin, the arbiter of ideas, posted about my report on this. LOL, so long, suckers. You guys have lied about everything for years, called half the country racist Nazis. I never did that. And promoted every loony conspiracy theory, all the while being propped up by big tech. Your demise couldn't happen to a worse group of people. He's thrilled. Dave Rubin is thrilled. By the way, he should be.
Okay, even Dave Rubin is laughing at you. And yeah, he might have, but you know why that is? He actually was dumb and took you at your word that there was some mass exodus. Everybody knew what was going to happen. Everybody knew what was happening. Everyone knew you weren't going to, it wasn't over. Jeez, like I don't know why I do know why I keep going back to Dark Side Phil, because you guys are all turning into Dark Side Phil. It's hilarious. But that's what he does. That's what his whole career is. And he survived on making content by just constantly bitching and moaning about how he needs more money. And lo and behold, now a bunch of leftists that are freaked out because their election predictions were so off mark and everybody's leaving their channels. Now you guys go out. You guys, not even you guys. It's you. It's just you. It's just David Pakman. And somebody takes you at your word because they, I don't know, weren't paying attention to your other 10 predictions that were all false. But there's this sudden, notice of someone as ridiculous as David Pakman stating that, oh my God, I'm in trouble. And he's not familiar with how you're overly melodramatic and constantly try to act like you have this moral superiority to everybody, when really you're just a joke. You're just a joke. Nobody takes you seriously. The subscribers you have, yeah, that sounds like about the right amount of people that would follow a moron. But like anybody else that's not subscribed that watches, I hate to break it to you, dude, they're probably just laughing at you. And none of these people, if they even remember your name, which I guarantee you Dave Rubin probably hasn't and doesn't think about you at all, while you spend every day obsessing about how to get Dave Rubin. I doubt you've ever crossed his mind until he made this post about you. But it's ridiculous that like you think you're going to put out a video like that and then come back after the world didn't end and your channel didn't shut down, and you yourself say now the subs are outpacing the people leaving. People are still leaving, but the subs are outpacing it. But now the right wingers are after us. If you don't think that people are going to come and laugh at that because of how incredibly delusional you are, like, maybe, I don't know. I think you should keep making content. I think everybody on the right probably thinks you should keep making content, but it's not like I'm going to go to any means to do that. I'm going to support you as much as a view on YouTube would support you, but I'm not going to make any posts for you. I'm not going to cheer for you. I'm not going to send your message out for you, of course, because I think you're full of shit. But ultimately, the main problem is you just take yourself way too seriously. And you're so overexposed and just enwrapped in this idea of the culture war, whether you acknowledge it or not. Because the fact of the matter is, like, this is your first thought. You rushed to make a video as soon as you saw this because how dare they? How dare they all laugh at me and put videos out like this? How dare they? I'm David Pakman. Jeez. Come back down to earth, dude. Seriously. Or don't. Because it's funnier with you, out there in space. But I just keep going.
Since we've surpassed him both in views and subscribers, obviously Rubin should be thrilled about what he believes to be my impending demise. Adam McKay, who you might remember directed the film starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Don't Look Up.
You don't see any events where, there's a mass exodus
Legacy
of...
media and Dem influencers should lose every drop of credibility
this is
after
some
the last
movie dude.
Checks Notes 35 years. Another major right-wing YouTube channel, one of the worst, called The Quarter, did a video called Kamala Harris Shills Panic as Lies Find...
I'm sorry. One of the worst. The quarter pounder. Oh, man. If you want to see how hardcore quartering is, how hardcore MAGA the quartering is, just watch his interactions with Mr. Medicare, and you'll see how hardcore the quartering is. Oh my God, this guy, and that's the thing too. Like the quartering is like I always thought he was kind of left, like more like classically left, but the dude's into tabletop games. He's into Magic the Gathering and Warhammer. That's what he most, and he does a podcast and show about current events and cultural issues and stuff. Yeah. But he started as more gaming related. And he's always been more gaming related. He even talks about that stuff still to this day, probably at least as much. And this is the dude that you demonize as one of the worst of the worst. The quarter pounder, that sick bastard who's celebrating the demise of us and our content. I can't believe this. It's hilarious. I mean, this is great. I watched this, but I watched it as I was clipping it. This dude is... This dude's fucking ridiculous. I'm sorry. If you watch this guy seriously, man, no wonder you would be... I guess it explains why you would be a little off the rails to, kind of think that this is really what's going on. But, man... because it wasn't you making yourself out to be an asshole in front of the whole world because of your subscribers ditching you because you were incredibly off. And, I mean, I'm sorry, you made yourself out to be a political commentator. You made yourself out to be a left-wing commentator on YouTube. And you decided to respond to a bunch of polls and go out on a limb and were so confident that you made the prediction. You're the one that came out and made the prediction and got all your fans and all your supporters out there to believe that, yeah, David told us that this Iowa poll was true. And then the inevitable happens and Trump wins because you couldn't get a pulse on the country that people are kind of sick of the open border, and they're kind of sick of transgender policies, and they're kind of sick of, crime that was out of control, and they're sick of your lies that crime's coming down and that inflation is cooling, and they're just sick of it. They're just sick of the bullshit and being led around like there's a carrot on a string. It's so pathetic. It's so, and it's sad. Like I said, this is like LARPing level. It's like he's trying to pretend to be this big political pundit, and he can't even take a group of people laughing at him for how stupid he is. Like I've said this before, I'm out here on different social platforms where people can watch me no matter where they are and say whatever they want. That's fine. I can take a few jabs. I can take a few jokes about me. That's fine. I put myself out. I can take it. I don't condone at all when it's that life ruination kind of bullshit, or when you go out, trying to swat people, trying to dox people's employers and all that shit. That's a different thing. But this is just, like I said, I haven't seen anyone on the right doing anything at all like that when it comes to David Pakman or anyone else on the left. It's not even just David. Kyle Kulinski and all these guys, they were worried too. And they're all coping in their own way. Like, most of them are just rationalizing on their own channels about how could this happen? How did this happen? And they still don't get it, but that's what they're doing. David was the one that came out on a limb and is like in panic mode because of this. And people made videos about it. Because guess what? Yeah, your channel has a bunch of people that are subscribed. So, and on top of that, if you don't believe the whole idea that maybe, just maybe, YouTube is putting its thumb on the scales, maybe you should question why people who don't like your perspective and have nothing to do with your side and don't want anything to do with your side at all are getting recommends for your video. Maybe you should, kind of think about that for a minute, because like, why would people who are completely disconnected from my political views and everything that I push on my channel, why would they be getting recommended my videos over and over again? And then maybe, you could think about the idea that, pre-Elon, pretty much all of social media fell in line with the left. And pre-Trump's election, everyone in media essentially still was more or less leftist leaning. Like, there was a reason that everyone was skeptical of any information that came out about the origins of COVID, or whether the FBI was actually getting reports on parents at school board meetings, or, there's a reason people actually are skeptical of these things. If you actually dug below surface level just even a tiny bit and stopped just only reading the headlines like I was talking about before and looked into the substance, then maybe, just maybe, you could see, but you refuse to do it. You refuse to do it. You can't. You can only see things in the worldview of the one that you have, and the one that you have says that, well, if the right wing had done this, I know what we'd be doing. We'd be trying to bury these guys. And that's the problem. That's the problem right there, is that that's what would be happening if the roles were reversed. And that's always what we all know this. Everybody knows this. Even him. He wouldn't admit it, but he knows it. Now, he would never even, I don't even know if it's on a conscious level he knows it, because like, he would never even allow his mind to go there. His way of admitting to it would be to say, that's just ridiculous. There's no evidence at all to support that. It'd be an appeal to the authority, an appeal to, he's always talking about polls, and he's always talking about data. Show me the poll, show me the data, show me this, show me that. I can't show you these things, unfortunately, David. Sometimes you have to just go by feel. I know the Democratic Party has given up on real ability to actually feel out things at all and get some kind of intuitive level of understanding, because you don't believe in intuitive level understanding. But a lot of people in the country have consistently felt the way that, once again, opening our borders to the entire world might not be such a good idea. I'm still pro-choice, but I actually like a lot of the states that have put restrictions on abortion, because I don't think that up until the moment of birth is a good way to be able to, regulate how abortions are handled. I think that when you can abort a child that is developed past the first trimester, it's pretty much bordering on the sick to start allowing to do that. The 12-week bans, I totally get that. After 12 weeks, 15 weeks, sometimes you're bordering on the disgusting. But David can't even allow his mind to go there. So it has to be that, well, Trump actually is going to institute an abortion ban on the country. No, he's not. He's said so many times over and over again, I'm not going to, if a national abortion ban came over to my desk, I wouldn't sign it. And I believe him, because essentially, the Supreme Court that they're always complaining is so right-wing, they said it over and over again in their own opinion, that this wasn't about a national abortion ban. This isn't about any other rights, including the right to contraception. They had to spell all this shit out. They go to the extra effort of laying out all the areas which this doesn't apply and how it won't go farther than this. And what's their intuition? Next, they're going to go after, like, that's their intuition, is that they're lying. They're lying. They're obviously not telling the truth. They're obviously going to go for a nationwide abortion ban. It's like when people say it that are not aligned with their worldview, they have such a terrible opinion of them. They just immediately think, no, that's not true. That can't be true. That's definitely not true. I mean, God, I'm sorry, which side is it that keeps getting caught lying? Because it's not that side. Oh, man. Anyway, I don't even want to watch the rest of it. We'll put it's just misery.
Really catch up. David Pakman has meltdown mass unsubscribes.
Yeah,
top right-winger Charlie Kirk responded
okay, he actually,
to
at least he is actually
Colin
right-wing.
Rugg, who has nearly 2 million followers. Rugg posted my video with the comment, Dem influencers are seeing record numbers of subscription cancellations
guy.
along with mass exodus of followers. And Charlie Kirk responded, not tired of winning.
Yeah, that's a Trump slogan.
Brett Weinstein from the former intellectual dark web sarcastically tweeted, gosh, whatever could
yeah, because he's such a hardcore right-winger.
Even Juanita Broderick, the woman who famously accused Bill Clinton of sexual assault, tweeted about this, and she said gleefully, the lies have caught up with them.
Listen to the descriptive words he throws in there.
The truth, things will turn around. I sort of doubt they have that courage.
I do too.
Even the conspiracy website The Gateway Pundit picked it up with an article called Top Leftist Pundits Are Reportedly Hemorrhaging Subscribers Following
That was your exact words.
All right, you get the picture. There's hundreds more. Hundreds more. Understand that they want us gone.
No, they don't.
They think
are loving this just like
is their
I'm.
best opportunity to get rid of us. If Elon Musk has Twitter deprioritize us, and maybe Trump goes after us, and they attack us and encourage people to cancel.
Oh my God!
I have to tell you, I kind of respect the game. Let me tell you what I mean. They think we are hugely damaging to the country.
Well,
we
you
think
are.
They are hugely damaging to the country. They have an opportunity here. They are taking it. They think they can destroy progressive, independent media for good.
No, they don't, and they aren't. It's I can't even do it anymore. I can't even do it anymore. And I guess that is a good idea to cut it there, because man, we went a long time today. But this is such a incredible, like, that video should be just called Projection the video, like Spaceballs the video. I mean, that was more projection than I've ever seen in one clip in my life. It's so unbelievable. They can't fathom, at least David Pakman and the rest of them, like the rest of the people that he talked about. These guys are all just, I mean, I won't call them any untoward names, but I will say that they have bought into the delusions and the narrative that has been boiling up to this. They bought into it so hard that they rationalize this, and they not one time can be introspective. They can't one time look at themselves and their own work and their own content and their own behavior and think, maybe that was a little much. They can't do it. They can't do it. It's amazing because, naturally, most people from my experience, and bear in mind, I don't have a poll on this, and it's not my, not from well-researched information. This is just from my own experience. When people screw up, or when people have something wrong, or something go wrong with them or whatever, the first thing they do usually is they look inward. At least the people that I've met and I deal with, they look inward and say, did I screw something up? What did I do wrong? These are the people that I'm talking about when I say these people. They can't go there. It's always somebody else doing it to them. It's always somebody else that is trying to get some sort of result that involves them not getting what they want, or not having some success that they're hoping for or whatever. And it can't even be entertained for a second. That maybe there is a reason why they all put out a video or sent one tweet and then kind of moved on to the rest. I mean, their shows were about more than this. I didn't see one show that had the entire focus of being about David Pakman's subscriber loss. I didn't even see one show that was solely dedicated to mass exodus from left-wing media, period. I saw several videos about how delusional everyone on the left was, that they're still coping and trying to figure out, where did we go wrong? Where did we go wrong? When you could point to 1,000 things that started from day one of this administration where they went wrong. And they can't go there. They just can't do it. They can't look introspective. They can't think, maybe I did something that caused this. They have to point to somebody else. It's unbelievable because, like I said, it's not meant to be like some virtue thing. It's just meant to be like, naturally people, they go to what's immediately around them first, and they try to figure out what went wrong, and they usually start with themselves. They usually ask themselves, did I do something wrong? When you are citing a poll that you are so excited by because it is telling you exactly what you want to hear, maybe you should think, well, how accurate is this? Maybe you should double check to see, I don't know, where is Iowa actually at based on other polling information? But no, you have to appeal to the authority. Well, this pollster has been so right in the past. Okay, well, it's just one. You know, there's other polls around. What are they saying? Because not one other one said something so stupid. Not even the left-wing polls. Not one of them said something so stupid. And that's why Trump, I think this is kind of a doomed, idea. But even if it's just to send a message, fine, go for it. Because, people should know that there's a limit when you are entrusted with the media that reaches everyone in the country. And, legacy media is dying, of course. But, at the same time, there's still massive numbers that turn out. You can't just stroll in and put anything you want on MSNBC or CNN and have them, want to put it on their channel. You have to actually get a job there, and you basically have to say what they want you to say. But I'm sure they give their top talent, if you can call them talent, some leeway to write their own scripts, of course. But still, the narrative overall is what they want the narrative to be. And that's totally different than social media, where people who want to put their own ideas out, start their own channels and put their own content out. I start this channel and I put my own ideas out. And, as I've said before, I am hoping, I do hope sometime at some point when I can get my shit together and actually do the show regularly, to actually make some kind of a profit out of. I will come straight out and admit it, because a lot of people don't want to say that. They don't want to say there's a profit motive. But when you have a profit motive or you have a profit goal, you actually are striving towards something. There's no shame in it. There's nothing wrong with that. But you have to have some responsibility and be able to take that responsibility when you mess up. I've messed up a lot lately, so I will admit it. But I didn't mess up so bad that I reported something completely incorrectly or said something completely incorrect, and people were motivated or excited or were incited into motion by my shows or my ideas. And there's tons of people that probably went to the polls on election day thinking, yeah, David Pakman told us about the Ann Seltzer poll from Iowa that says Kamala Harris is going to take Iowa. And then it comes, oh, no, she didn't. She didn't even come close. And she lost all the other swing states. And, okay. And it's once again, it's about the responsibility. He not one time has said anything about that after election day. And it maybe, just maybe, if he had come out and his first video was Jeez, I don't know how I could have been so wrong. I'm sorry, guys. Jeez, I really, I got really overly excited, and I just trusted a pollster. I should have looked into it more. He's Mr. Data. You would think that he would think that, but no, it's the right wingers. It's all the right wingers. They're all coming for his channel. They want to shut him down. Like I said, yeah, it's impressive for an individual who has 2.5 million subscribers. In the world of social media, that's like one of thousands. Sorry, that's just the way that it is. And I'm sure you have more subscribers than Dave Rubin. Guess what? Dave Rubin puts out a stream. He's going to get more people watching. It's not about the amount of people that are watching, that are subbed to you or that are following you. It's about the amount of people that are engaged. And Dave Rubin has way more people engaged than David Pakman. I'm sorry. Just like how, it's the reason why people like Tim Pool and people like even Quarter Pounder. Yeah, he's been a goof in the past, but he's been pretty on the nose lately with a lot of his stuff. And I personally am not a big fan of his content, but I've watched his stuff every once in a while just to see, because he's talking about something that really has my attention. And he's got some good stuff he puts out. I wouldn't call him offensively right-wing. I wouldn't call him even right-wing. I mean, he talks about so much stuff, it's hard to even peg down what he is. He's not typically political. And that's the other thing, too. A lot of these people, Asmongold streams World of Warcraft and a bunch of gameplay videos. Now he's into Path of Exile 2. And that's another, you got to look at what these people's actual interests are and think to yourself, why would a guy like Asmongold, yeah, he talks about cultural topics from time to time, some political stuff, but he's mostly a game streamer, and most of the time he's talking about news in the gaming world. Until this last election, which was so freaking huge because of how pivotal it was. Yeah, everybody was talking about the election. So when you got some Nimrod that comes out and makes a prediction like Kamala Harris is going to take Iowa and then win the election, yeah, people paid attention. And guess what? They watched it and they couldn't believe it. And when it was all said and done and their belief was correct, they came back to laugh at you. And it turned out that when they came back to laugh at you, a bunch of people who were ashamed that they're subscribed to you all were unsubscribing, and you were freaking out about that. It's so ridiculous. And that's what I mean. There's not 1 ounce of, have some fucking responsibility, dude. Just take some kind of responsibility for the act of doing that whole thing. And honestly, in your case, going and pulling the panic button immediately on the day that you're losing a bunch of subscribers because the election's over, and you can't arrive at the conclusion that just maybe it's because of something I said. I'm sorry, that just says to me that you have there's not an ounce of capability in that brain to think about the consequences of your own actions. It's so ridiculous. But anyway, that's why they're the left. That's why they had to be defeated this time. And there's a reason why. There's a lot of pressure. A lot of people were really pulling for Donald Trump because they've had it with this mindset. There's no accountability, no responsibility, no admission of guilt. Never. Like I said, we have sanctuary city laws. We have no bail laws. We have California with its theft laws that just finally got repealed. And then it's all this great idea until something happens, a bunch of people, the other day when an immigrant lights a woman on fire in the subway and sits down and watches her burn. It's all fucking gravy until then. I'm sorry. You people lost your minds a long time ago. Nobody fucking believes that. You're the butt of the jokes all the time, and you're coming and complaining about it. Sorry. Maybe grow a spine and get a fucking perspective. it's just time after time after time. And the thing is, for a long time, they had to hold their laughter, they had to bite their tongue, and they had to just sit back and chuckle to themselves in silence. Because, once again, the overlords at the big tech companies, God forbid you step out of line. And if you're a Trump supporter, forget it. Forget it. You couldn't even put Make America Great Again on freaking Twitter. They would ban your account immediately. They banned the goddamn president. They banned the president of the United States from Twitter. People already forget that. Like, is there no standard? No, there is no standard except for the left-wing standard, and that is the one you have to abide by because those are the rules. And so people are a little elated now with the internet being a little bit more fair, a little bit more open, a little bit more willing to accept the fact that, yeah, people support fucking Trump. But guess what? You're not going to be able to go back to those days where people are going to ban you for saying something like all lives matter. You know why? Because people have woken up and they've seen how stupid the country becomes when leftists have a whole of government monopoly on everything and decide to make all the rules. And it's just like, yeah, there's no such thing as racism against white people. There's no such thing as criminals. There's no such thing as crime. Sex and gender are social constructs, and women and men can play in sport, and there's no issue with that. Like, these are the things that happen under leftist control. That is one hell of a list. That's what accomplishments. What did we find out about all that? All of that destroys a country. It's pretty obvious. So, maybe if you can't, if it's not spelled out enough for you yet, I guess, it's just time to call it a lost cause on people like that. And what else can you do but laugh? That's the only thing left you can do, because there's obviously no convincing someone when they're that fucking wrong. All right. Sorry, I gotta call it quits there. This is a very strange episode to be putting up on Christmas Eve, but I hope you all had a good time. I did today. Finally, thank the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. I actually got this stream done today. Thank you very much. I'm so sorry about all the other ones, guys. It's been a really rough month, and hopefully, like I said, I'll be able to get into this regular schedule in the next couple of weeks. I won't be live tomorrow, obviously. I'll be live the next day. What is tomorrow's Wednesday? It's Wednesday, right? I'm losing track of I think it's Wednesday. Let me just make sure. Yeah, Wednesday. So I'll be live on Thursday. And I'll be live except for on Sunday as usual. And then as far as New Year's week, probably also take a break on New Year's, and we'll pick up on the next day after that too. But I'm not going on any extended breaks. I'm not going on any holidays. I'll be here. So I will be able to hopefully redeem the crappy schedule that's been going on lately, and hopefully if everything goes right, I'll be able to keep it up for the. I mean, like I said before, I don't know how I managed to do, like, there was a couple of hiccups, but the first 25, 30 episodes almost were pretty uneventful as far as like missing anything. They went pretty straight, but then everything kind of dropped the ball. But I think I can get it back. So, in any case, thanks to everybody who stuck around for the episodes. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching this one. This one was fun. And I hope you all have a freaking fantastic Merry Christmas. And I will see you guys on the day after. So until then, enjoy the holidays. Merry Christmas to all of you. And have a fantastic evening and a fantastic Christmas. I'll talk to you on Thursday. Until then, have a good one. Peace.
Yeah, I can't read it. There's no words on it.
Okay. Sure.
There's no words there. To play us out. What does that mean? To play us out. What is,
for credits.
I don't know what that means, to play us out. What does that mean?